welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello everyone, welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Broiler Chicken Show. We're ready for, and actually we already do the formal intro. So actually I guess we probably don't need to repeat it, but there you go. Merry Christmas. Happy Chicken Day, as Mr. Glass Insight says. Well said, sir. Actually, Chris and I were working diligently away there, trying to get the newsletter all tickety-boo for you people. Actually, I'm quite pleased with the way this newsletter is going. If you actually come on the site and you want to see like physical evidence of what it is that we do day in, day out, week in, week out, every single week, I try to post a market or a research piece of note. And I tell you, man, we bang out a hell of a lot of winning trades here. So this was a fun little treat here this morning. Actually, over the past 3 days, I just keep getting paid by this thing. Doink, 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 doink. And the message, the tweet that I put out was, hey, you want more of my coins? You know exactly where to find me. And I'll be more than happy to sell you another big whack of them at the next double price. And the cool part about this is I bought this thing at like 1,000. It jumped up to 3,000. So that's 3x. I suppose that's not a bad policy to get into the habit of. So it's banging out doubles of triples. So we got a triple off, then another double of that triple. So that worked out to like 6x. And then we got another double here. So this is like a 12x off of this move. I wouldn't be surprised if I come back and we find after I'm done with Lily, we get a, what would be the next one? I guess a 24x. Let's see what they're doing here in Memecoin land. There she goes. Look at that pop, eh? So they took out the old highs, up as high as what? 18,360. And of course, my next sell order is going to be sitting up here at about, I guess, 24, eh? I let some go here at 12 and change. What was my number here? What does this say? Great part about this is, I'm an open book, so I mean, I don't really care. 12,653. So that means I got to go 24, 25. Oh boy, 25, big fat round number. And I guess that would be like what, 2.5 cents, something like that. So anyway, having lots of fun. And I mean, this is basically what I do. This is, I guess, my gift to the universe. I thought it was so cool. Somebody about a month or so ago, I was just sitting watching this guy being interviewed in Crypto Land, and he goes, well, I base my entire philosophy off of this clown. He didn't say clown, actually. I think he said, this awfully nice guy, Brian Beamish, and his little old lady plan. I don't know whether the banging out doubles is part of the little old lady plan. That's more a commentary on risk management. But I don't know what it is. For some reason, this little old lady banging out doubles, and I don't really care. You want to start with a triple and then be banging out doubles of triples and I don't really care. Just the most important thing here is you just want to put yourself on a plan. And then when stuff actually happens, you execute. I mean, that's the whole point of this exercise. I mean, could you have like said, oh yeah, I down here, this thing is going to go to exactly 0.01599. I'm going to sell all my coins there. And, sadly in DeFi, they might have zipped it up top here and you get no fills. Because we all know the subtleties of this DeFi trading. It's a bit tricky. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is if you just put yourself on a plan and you say, look, I'm going to sell half of the position when it triples, maybe selling half on a doubles a little bit, conservative. And then, if it does double from there, well, then that's 6x. All right, I'll let them have a little bit more. If it doubles again, great. 12x, I'll let them have a little bit more. But the point here is just that you have a plan. And then really, and I always tell this, I tell to all students and really anybody who's taking the level 1 program, any site alumni, of course, they hear this at the wazoo. You are only as good of a trader, if you really fancy yourself a trader, as you are by doing what you said you are going to do. A lot of times, and a lot of, sadly in this space, well, I mean, regardless of what space, I mean, I suppose it's in any space. But one thing I absolutely dislike about this human species is a lot of times I see in my career, in my sadly, even in my personal life, I mean, hell, we've all been stood up on dates and stuff. This human species, it has a really bad habit of saying one thing and then doing something completely different, which is a terrible, terrible trait for this species. And I tell you, if you want to make money from trading and you actually want to take money from the market on a consistent basis, you're here to see your small business grow. No excuses, no personal, well, this is all about, what a stud I am. No, this has nothing to do with that. This is making damn sure that you see your balance go up day after day after day after week after month after year. You just consistently make money from trading. You have to get into the habit of outlining exactly what it is you're going to do and then do it. Can't stress that enough. I mean, obviously, um, probably most of the people who do watch this video, I'm sort of just preaching to the choir, which is good. But hopefully, we got a few new people here and there that watch these videos, never heard this crazy clown talk before. But I think probably the most important thing from a guy like me, I'm not going to, knock the cover off the ball. Like I noticed that there's some people talking about these meme coins where they're making like $500,000 off of one trade. They're just riding it up and they're not going to sell until this thing gets to $5. And it's like, you're setting yourself up for failure if you do that consistently. I mean, every once in a while you might hit the cover off the ball, but I actually personally like my approach where it's systematic and you just consistently, you're here to just keep ringing the register, keep making money from trading, keep seeing your account balance go up. And then when we're in this kind of environment, I mean, anybody who's been watching these videos knows as of 2023, we were supposed to get something together because this is now, in fact, actually, I even shared it, I got to tell you, oh, I'm so proud. I mean, total side topic, but Jesus, I got to really tout this. Um, just hanging out on the site. We have a really robust team that we're all working together, just trying to be totally awesome people. And one gentleman who's basically joined our team over the past couple of years. In fact, I even remember the first time I met him was in a cellar of some a pub in London, and I remember seeing his face for the very first time that I met him first face to face. It was like you literally, you know, you know, I have. It's weird. I don't look at myself as some sort of celebrity or whatever, but it's bizarre where I actually talk to students and I talk to site members and I talk to new people, and they're kind of like almost a little starstruck when they actually meet with me. And then, the worst thing they always say is you don't want to meet your heroes because it turns out that they're just humans and they're fallible and they have their warts just like everybody else. So unfortunately, I think the gentleman who I met down in that basement of in London, I hope he still has the same impression of me, but I would imagine over the years that polish has been probably slightly tarnished. But anyway, he is now writing this blog for TRI. And of course, I love to do these research pieces like yesterday, usually Saturdays is when I sit down and do these because the futures markets is closed and stuff like that. And I basically put out this forecast here that, and actually I was pretty darn impressed. Like this, I think this tweet got over like 10,000 views. I don't know where you cut off that tweet actually goes viral. I'm not quite sure if there's some sort of number. But anyway, the point of the matter here is that when I did this study, it seemed to be pretty well received by the public. And the point here is that we are now into the window where if you are here to make money from speculating on the long side of the market, this is it, folks. I sure hope you got your shit together. I mean, I was barking about to you, all of you, through 2023. You got to get your act together. You got to get everything all lined up, because here we go. And what is a perfect analogy of it? It's this kind of idiocy. I mean, this is the irony of what we do at TRI. Just try to wrap your head around this. Most people in the stock market, they're happy with 8% capital gains and a 3% dividend for a total of 11% annualized rate of return on your money. How many of these, even if you take like, not going to risk more than 5% of my portfolio on any one name, and you bang out like 12 X's. And, I think you saw on that AME, I banged out like, I think it was like a 20 or 30 X on that trade. And this thing's not done. As I said, I don't see any reason why I'll come back from Lily and we'll see that this damn thing's giving me another double. Up at 24X, I guess, is the next number that we're looking for here. Where was that chart? There we go. I mean, they did take out this high, so maybe it needs to calm down here a little bit. But this is the type of market state that we're in, and this is what happened. This is why I like to play this junior market, because I mean this is life-changing events kind of I think. The problem here, though, and this is what really scares me about this market state right now, is guess who's coming in and buying way up top here? I mean, nobody was talking about this piece of crap down here, and it was just bumping along. I mean, this is a daily chart, so you can't make the argument you didn't have enough time to get in. In fact, I even worked a bid. I saw the double bottom came in. I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to chase. So I guess I'll just work my, stink bid buy order there off of this double bottom level. And I got filled pretty comfortably here. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. And the problem is in the newsletter, I say the problem is, and I laugh because of the image I'm about to show you. The problem is we start getting into this market state, and of course, all this kind of stuff starts coming up here. I don't know where the hell to show you it. I think I put it. Well, maybe I have it on the. Well, I guess maybe it's over here. Where's that Twitter feed? There we go. Where is it? Oh, I guess I don't have it on here. Thought I did. Yeah. Anyway, the J-Lo booty bottom girls all start coming out. Isn't that bizarre? Maybe I just posted it in the lounge. Where are we here? Let's go member lounge. So what I'm a little bit worried about is, unfortunately, the public, of course, comes in. Yeah, this right here. It's not funny. I could have sworn I thought I tweeted this out, but this is now what's starting to come up. I don't know whether this is G-rated or not. I think we'll be okay here. I don't think there's any. Actually, that's just a picture, but the actual tweet itself. Oh, I don't know where the hell I put it. Oh, maybe I must have. Oh well, looks like I lost it. Oh, because it was off of Discord, wasn't it? There it is. This kind of stuff is happening now. And as soon as you see this is a warning sign. For God's sakes, do not go in and buy this. You're just asking for trouble. When the public starts acting like this, right? You can't buy into that. If anything, that's your the public is getting a little bit nutso here. And there's nothing wrong with being long and spoon feeding into this stupidity. But this doesn't make for good investment decisions. You're just asking for trouble stepping in front of that. So anyway, just understand this is the type of behavior that will come up when these names start going absolutely crazy. But if anything, this is sadly, this is actually very similar to Mr. Gucci sweater, where you have to be able to listen to the market, understand what the market is saying, what language the market is speaking here. And of course, as a shrewd investor, somebody who buys low and sells high and sells into this kind of stuff, you have to be able to recognize that this is actually when people do this kind of stuff, this is actually your note that, all right, it's time for me to be lightening up a bit. There's no reason you don't have to sell it all. And in fact, my sort of sell half on a double kind of strategy, it doesn't matter how high an asset goes. I will always be long. Always. I'll just, every time it doubles in price, let another half of whatever I got left on the books go. And you don't know how high these damn things can go. But at the same time, too, coming in and buying the asset when the public is acting like this, that's actually a very high risk proposition, because they can rug, right? Everybody knows that term in this space, just like that. And of course, through this weekend environment, the adults are away, so the kids are having fun and they're playing. As soon as the adults get back, are they going to maybe put the kibosh on a bit of this, following the holiday, or I guess the weekend? Yeah, I think you know the answer to that. So just understand the market state, right? I don't know what language we use to describe this market state. I'll leave that up to you. But I wouldn't be buying into something that people in the public are acting like this right now. Just understand that, folks, please. Do yourself a favor. Having said that, do you want to sell into those rallies? Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. We're here to make money from trading. So as they're bidding these prices up, no reason why you can't make a bit of money from this. And that's basically my message through the week here. If we go back to this, maybe we just go back to the newsletter. My message, especially with something like Bitcoin, is ironically enough, this isn't a bad environment. That's fine, Matador. It could be her coin, totally fine. But that kind of behavior, that's blow off top kind of behavior. That's not hey, I'm sneaking in at the bottom. Remember, and like a lot of these names, when I buy them, nobody's interested in them at all, and nobody's talking about this stuff on social media. So I would say I haven't looked at that mother coin. I did see a couple people on the site were trading it, and they made some great money. And Matador, was it you who was playing that Pepe? I can't remember who that was on the site. I mean, there's some great money here. Don't get me wrong. But as they're taking these things up, I want you to be selling into the rallies, not buying. I think you're asking for trouble doing that. In fact, actually, there was one that I bought, and I have a rule, of course, I'm not allowed to chase. So there was one that I bought through the weekend that's basically along the same lines. And that's this ZACK, this guy right here. And we have one site member. Geez, if you're a TRIer, do yourself a favor. I mean, if you like to play in this Solana space, it's a lot of fun. But we have one site member who actually got me sort of started in this Solana space. Steven. And we have like a little old lady room at TRI right here. And on a regular basis, Steven here is basically just, hey, it looks like this one's getting ready to go. Hey, it looks like this one's getting ready to go. Hey, it looks like this one's getting ready to go. So a couple names that he gave us last weekend took off. And I was like, oh, God damn, I missed it. Son of a bitch. I can't remember if DEVIN was one of his. Probably it was. I mean, Steven's an absolute boss. And I got to tell you, man, what I love about this TRI website is, we've taken the time to train people and get them to the point where they understand how to play the game. And you can see we're obviously getting a bit interested in this funny little ZACK coin. Who knows? I mean, the problem is that when you talk about these things as they're breaking them out, you might find that the guys who are pumping these things go, too many people in the public are paying attention. Let's just leave it for a week or two. But that's where we bought it and where Steven sort of told us. And I was like, thank God I finally got in on one of these things. I actually bought a little bit right off of this double bottom, and then I saw it break out through this double bottom. So I went and actually added to the position. So I actually have a couple positions on here. And of course, got sell orders working up at the top end range. We'll see what happens up here, but this should give me the opportunity to establish a risk-free trade, because you can see I'm long from basically above 4. And if I can get a move above 8, 9, let's call it, right into that 4669, you can see that's 8.2, 8.3. If I can get a nice pop into there, I should be able to get my double. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. The sad part about it, like when I was, teaching Joe there at Coinigy how to trade, where I would repeatedly say, who are these guys and where are they sleeping? Guys and girls, it doesn't really matter. So ironically enough, as this thing rallies up, it should establish a risk-free trade for me. See if we can get some off there around 9 cents or so, 9 or 10. And the irony of it all is all that does is it just releases these trap bulls here. Thank you, Adam. So, these guys, sadly, they're the ones who are actually going to stop the rally right against trendline resistance, right into Foggenbaum levels. I mean, ironically enough, just so cliche. I mean, I got to tell you, the longer I play this game, the more I see how just absolutely stunningly cliche this silly game is. So whether you're a fan of 2.618s or 4.669s, this is all chaos theory, Foggenbaum, etc. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually take this thing up into this level. I actually saw, though, that this guy here, he's actually coming out and saying, I'm not selling any until it reaches $5 a coin. Now, that might be a bit aggressive. And, after I establish my risk-free trade, I think I've got like an order working here. I think I am, again, a little greedy on this one. I have the open order working just basically on a test of this high. Kind of like what you saw with the DEVIN. If they do the same thing on the ZACK, then I get myself, that's the sell half on a triple kind of idea. I might find that if it just starts stalling out in this area, maybe I just let half of it go at a double. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. I mean, it's not a bad situation to be in, eh? But the point here is that this thing had a bottom written all over it. When I saw, and Steven, what a fucking god this guy is. He's just like, he looks like they're getting ready to run another one here. Anybody want to get in? And the fact that I could get in on this one at the breakout level, I think I even tweeted it out. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think the thing went straight up. Because quite often when I tweet out, keep in mind, there are a few people that follow me. I think it does sort of like ruin the party for the guys who are running this thing. And I even tweeted out yesterday, and I asked everybody to wish me luck. I don't think anybody wished me luck though. But right here, I even said, all right, I might have just snuck my way into an SOL name just as it's breaking out. So you can see there I am in there buying. And I bought a little bit on this W, and then I bought a little bit more on this W. So my average is right in there. And of course, putting out funny tweets and memes and stuff like that. Did anybody wish me luck? I don't know. Did anybody? There's Steven. He's such a badass. ZACK Attack. I don't know who that is. I believe it or not, actually, and this is a good analogy for all of you, because I think Alan basically did exactly the same thing in Doge last cycle. And he put the pivot in on Doge at about, I think it was like 7/10 of a cent. And it was interesting because in fact, he even put out his tweet, right? In a word, Doge. And I think that was at 7/10 of a cent. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 0.007. And where did it top out? And this is kind of a side topic. I'm not quite sure where I'm off on a tangent here. I mean, when you bang out these big wins, obviously you're a little bit scatterbrained through all this, but 0.7 and I suppose we could probably just pull it up for you here. I think actually I have it in sort of, and what's interesting about the broader crypto market is that kind of like Bitcoin, and this is another thought completely different, but what the hell? Kind of like Bitcoin, I think the broader market is kind of just sort of cooling its jets right now. A lot of stuff, of course, got bid up there into all that, Bitcoin halving and all that crap. And I do get the impression that things are just trying to cool down a little bit. Actually, this is an interesting one. GAL. Oh god, this is another conversation altogether. Okay, let's finish off the Doge thought, and then maybe we'll come back to this one. But it did hit actually a technical upside objective, so I was pretty impressed with that. But you can see most of these names, like all of Zjord's fundamental good quality picks, kind of just going sideways right now. And this is actually what I would expect out of the market through the end of May, beginning of June. And if anything, little bit concerned that we haven't had that serious drubbing that we usually get the beginning of May, June period. And as I said in the newsletter, there are some things coming down the pike out of Europe that I could see it punch the market in the nose. Okay, let's finish off this Doge thought here for you. So, this was the Doge story. Back here, Alan comes out and he says, in a word, I'm a crook. No, he didn't say that. Anyway, I think it was around 0.7 right there. And most importantly, where did this thing actually top out, right? That's the most important thing here. And of course, look at that, about 75 cents. Do you think that's an accident? And of course, with our conversation about 2023, 2024 through 2025, this was 2021. Really, you can see this was not a very long window. It was like maybe 6 months. It's not very long. So I don't know whether ZACK will do the same thing. I mean, who knows? I suppose. But it wouldn't surprise me. 100x is a pretty popular number. That's basically what that is. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, that's basically 0.7 of a penny to 7 pennies. So that was 10x. And then 7 pennies to 70 pennies. That's another 10x. Put it all together. There's your 100x. So, but these guys, they're not really doing anything right now. I mean, this thing, it's just sort of floundering. And if anything, Alan looks a little heavy here. To come up with some downside objectives, I would probably do things like good old Foggenbaums. 2.618, that's probably what we're fighting at now. Ultimate objective should be 4.669s. We're basically right back down against this original bottom. That would make sense to me. I don't really think that this actually is the story this go round. In fact, I might even argue these are old stories. But I did notice, though, and I was actually pleasantly pleased to see this, but it does look like SHIB is actually trying to set up some sort of bullish setup here, which is a little bit surprising. I don't know what the difference is between SHIB and Doge nowadays, but actually that doesn't look bad. If you kind of think about this as like a meme coin kind of proxy kind of idea, and that ZACK and that DEVIN and, Mother and, what was the other one? Pepe and all that. It's a meme coin kind of environment. And I might argue that as long as Bitcoin is sort of trapped in this playground, and I think this is a pretty well-defined playground here, folks. I don't see anything momentum-wise here to say that these bigger cryptocurrencies are doing anything. I think, to all intents and purposes, I think this thing's kind of fully valued right now. We did have one site member. I don't see him on the site too much anymore, which kind of bums me out, but I hope he's doing okay. He actually mines Bitcoins. And, I had always made the argument, especially prior to this recent halving, that the cost of production for Bitcoin was probably somewhere between about $5,000 and $10,000 a coin. So at $70,000, this was just ridiculous. He would actually make the argument that his cost of production was around, I don't know, 20,000, maybe 25,000 for a Bitcoin, just being a public participant. And now that we've had the halvening, my number goes from let's say 10,000 to 20,000. So that would mean sort of base value would be down here. And frankly speaking, I actually kind of like that. Reload zones, all those, green boxes, all that kind of talk. Trend line support. That would make sense to me that this is value here. He, on the other hand, of course, if we follow his numbers, halvening, if his cost of production was 20,000, then now his new cost of production is 40,000. So that basically paints this level as value, or 50% of the entire trading range. So regardless of whether you use Brian's cheap ass fundamental metrics or this gentleman's probably more real cost of production numbers, it's still a million miles away from where we are right now. So that concerns me. I'm not overly impressed with what I've seen here. I've told you guys repeatedly, and it's just basically what I do. And I've been doing this game a very long time. But I would actually still right now consider Bitcoin going through its topping phase here. We haven't actually even done any correcting yet, which scares the hell out of me because we're not really breaking out here. And I've told you guys repeatedly, like I said there a second ago, and I've been doing this forever. At any given point in time, you should expect a 38.2 retracement. It's just what markets do. This is Colin and his pump chasers, and I hope Colin and his pump chasers have been religious about this, where this is, if you do want to buy something like Bitcoin, I think there are far better stories to play. And if you want to have some fun and make some money, go and play in the Memecoin land. That's where all the money's being made right now. I think Bitcoin, it's been fully priced. And if anything, I'm a cheap ass. So that means I want to buy stuff when it's on special, when it's on discount. I'm shopping for real estate. I'm just sitting here. There's no fucking way, excuse my French, that I'm going to pay the idiot prices that people are paying for real estate in Canada right now. And they always say the market remains far illogical far longer than anybody can remain solvent. My hunch is that just very much like the U.S. real estate market, what was the catalyst that actually brought on the actual crash in the U.S. real estate market? I'd just be curious to see whether anybody even knows. What was the catalyst that actually triggered the whole great financial crisis? And it was pretty simple if you actually understood how the game works. Glass Insights, you're my guinea pig here since you're the only one in the lounge with us today. Do you know what was the catalyst that triggered? No. Subprime was a symptom of the problem, not the catalyst that broke the camel's back. Now that's the same thing. That was a symptom of the disaster. And I would make the argument, the absolute insane immigration that the current politicians just gave you the answer. In my country, that's basically laying the same groundwork as the great financial crisis in the US. The catalyst that triggered the break was the end of George Bush Jr.'s tenure. As soon as the word got out that there were going to be no more Republicans in Washington, Dick Cheney had absolutely no interest whatsoever in following George Bush Jr.'s tenure. In fact, he was quite hated by the American public. And there was just a tsunami of negativity against George Bush Jr. at the end of his presidency. I would argue that that was the catalyst that triggered basically every Wall Street insider, and that's where the banksters, basically, they were in the pocket of George Bush Jr., or maybe George Bush Jr. was in the banksters' pocket and actually let them get away with all this subprime lending, which was just stupidity. So, anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you're looking for the catalyst for something like the Chinese real estate market to break, it won't break until the idiot that's in charge of my country right now is run out of there. And it's kind of funny. They even have like countdown clocks on Trudeau. And I was even joking with the audience for daily briefs and stuff like this. Like in my country right now, look at this. I mean, there are literally countdown clocks, although I showed this one. I don't know why the hell they have this one anyway, but there are actually people who are actually doing countdown clocks. When the fuck? Look at this one. This is done by the Liberal Party of Canada? This one's probably a bit biased, but look at this. Trudeau gone, Canada Freedom Day, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's shocking how bad it is. And I would say that if you want to wait, what is the catalyst that's going to cause the Canadian real estate market to collapse? It's going to be on this idiot finally being run out of office here. And I mean, it's embarrassing how bad this really is. I mean, it's just so embarrassing how destructive this guy has been for my country. But anyway, that's here nor there. We don't want to get into all that shit, right? But anyway, so the point that I would just make here for something like crypto and Bitcoin is I think Bitcoin's actually fairly valued here. If anything, our job is that we want to try and buy when others are selling and sell when others are buying. Still a little bit too much enthusiasm in the crypto market. I want to see pain. I want to see the people in the space. Maybe there was some horrific scandal and a whole bunch of people got wiped out. Maybe there's some government. And keep in mind, and actually, we have one gentleman on the site. Maybe Chris, I could have you reach out to him. He's actually tracking all of the sort of potentially negative events that are coming down the pike here for crypto. And he was the one who actually pointed out that there's a pretty big potential bombshell that could potentially come out of Europe here. I don't think we have it in our news headlines, but I did actually make reference to it here. This mica thing, something big is brewing out of the Eurozone with regard to crypto, and it's supposed to like take effect in early July. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of like sell the rumor kind of into the end of June. And then that marks our sort of capitulation bottom. And then we sort of start the whole process of bottoming and then, rallying. In the interim, of course, this is a great opportunity, I think, to have some fun with these kind of people. I mean, is this guy really your cornerstone of good financial management? No, no offense, sir. I don't think he has a PhD from Harvard. Although I'm not even overly impressed with PhDs. That Alan Blinder, I teach all the level oneers. What a jerk that guy was. And he was like Obama's chief economic advisor. And yet there's actual glaring evidence of him making publicly fun of the insiders of big tech stocks who sold all of their stock into the 2000 dot-com bubble peak, and him actually being publicly on like CNBC mocking these people. Now, who was right? Obviously, he was wrong, but does anybody hold the PhDs to fucking account? No. So I guess, Zach, maybe you are a PhD. I don't know. But I think in this kind of environment, as long as Bitcoin is not breaking down, and right now, oh, Jesus, look at that. Man, they're popping this thing. How high did they take it now? 8.2. So, Jesus, from 4.3, 8.6 is a double for me. And look at that. Anybody who knows me and actually has taken the education program knows what an incredible message that candle right there is. Wow. What's that number? 1.95, 1.85. Yeah, well, that's what got me so excited, Adam, right? Because Adam just said there. I mean, that's what, and then also too, anybody who knows me knows how much I love things like relative strength index. Um, and my funny little way of using RSI. I don't know how the hell to do this here. I mean, I don't use this deck screener that well. There's the indicators there. But check this out, Adam. This was so cool. When I saw this, I was like, oh, fuck, I have to jump all over this. Does some clown on the interneting, obviously, if I ask the question that way, you know what the answer is. But is there some doofus who says, you know, if I ever see two W's in RSI, and then that second W happens to come through the 50 line, do you see, Adam? And then that, and also too, I would imagine that probably what happened was there were a lot of people that saw this RSI study and they all jumped in, right, to the tune of 1.85 million coins right there. Look at that. We don't want to name names here. I mean, when I saw this, Adam, I nearly fell off my seat here. I was just like, there's no way I can't buy this. If I don't buy this, I'm gonna just be so fucking pissed off at myself. So anyway, there she goes. Vroom. The only question is, where do we decide to start to get greedy here? And I think I publicly said that I was going to go for a triple here. So I'm going to be a little bit greedy and shoot for this 4.669 up here. Having said that, Murphy's Law, we're going to bang into this trend line, bang into these two foggy boggies, and that's going to be it for the rally. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. But in this kind of environment, right, there's, hopefully you can see, right? I mean, the good part about this is there's nothing really new going on here. What do you think the odds are that this all happened in a 61.8 to 78.6 fib retracement range? Do you think the odds are pretty good? I don't know. Anyone? What do you think, Glass Insights? Not quite sure what that name means, but anyway, look at that. I mean, this is everything that I'm trying to teach you people. So, I was, Adam, what I was thinking about when I even posted this? I posted in the lounge. I was like, Jim and Lizzie, holy crap. I mean, this is basically you guys. Like, this is exactly what I want you people to learn. You can't script this any better. I mean, look at this. It's just absolutely beautiful. The only thing I was missing here was we didn't quite have an RSI divergence on this push to new lows. That would have been just absolutely incredible. I would be willing to bet if we looked at things like MACD histograms, I bet there was a nice divergence down there. But look at that. W's within W's, W's, W. I mean, just W's everywhere. And because all of these W's all start firing, well, then we can start drawing things like chaos theory and Foggenbaums and all that. And we can start drawing, because, I mean, hopefully also, in fact, actually, Dan, you're in level 2. Actually, I think Jim and Lizzie, you guys are in level 2 now, or Jimmy and Liz. Hopefully you all respect how this thing put in a W on the other side of the trend line. On momentum confirmation, at good trade location, on rising volume. I mean, this is literally everything that I'm trying to teach you. I don't know. Can anybody see this? Glass Insights, can you see this? Anybody? I don't know. Nobody? I know there's a bit of a delay on YouTube, but can somebody tell me that they can see exactly what it is I'm trying to teach all of you and how this is basically playing out? Very, very cliche. Oh, good. Excellent. Good to see. Good. Is it, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys want to make money at this game? Does anybody else on the internet teach this? I mean, give me some feedback. You guys all, you probably pay attention to a lot of social media people. Does anybody actually sit and actually walk you through how to actually see this? I don't think so. I mean, you can't get more poop coin than anything. And it doesn't matter whether it's, some crazy ass fucking meme coin of some 1990s TV star. Or it's like, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and ES futures and, trading gold and silver. In fact, actually, speaking of gold and silver, you want to see the exact opposite of this and actually gold silver right now looks like this thing looked up here. And I don't know, is it a good idea to avoid buying assets that look like this? You want to see a really freaky picture? What do you think, folks? You tell me, and let's do this on YouTube. Who here, based on what I just walked you through, W's are bullish, W's are bullish, M's are bearish, buying at the top of the range, you're asking for trouble. Try and buy and reload zones. Now, let's go look at this silver market, and you tell me, should we be buying silver or maybe getting the fuck out of there? Look at that chart. Oh, God. Oh. Oh. Again, it's so stunningly cliche. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody tell me? I haven't seen anyone teach on what's that say? I don't know why there's always a little heart symbol right beside what you wrote there. I haven't seen anyone teach any real fundamentals. Oh, thank you, Diverted Light. Am I teaching? I sure hope I'm teaching. The irony of it all, though, is Diverted Light, you actually gave away your unintelligence by that statement. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be insulting. I love all you people dearly. And I don't know, give me some feedback here. Do you guys appreciate my style of teaching? Do you guys appreciate the way that I approach this? Because I might be doing this all wrong. I don't know why we don't have like tens of thousands of followers on YouTube. It doesn't make any sense at all. But you people there watching the video right now, do you guys like the way that I try and teach you guys this stuff? I don't know. Hey, we got somebody else on the call here. We have Prince. Ooh, fancy Prince. Crown Prince? Prince Charlie? Charlie! Brian School of Hard Knocks. Oh, I like that. Top tier edutainment. Excellent. Diverted Light says, yes, I have learned more from you over the past few years than any social media star. Oh, good. Excellent. Oh, thanks, eTarget. I won't say that out loud, but I appreciate that sentiment. So, I put this message out the other day, and you all heard me talking on that Wall Street Silver show. I've shown you like the big picture of what it is that they're doing to all of these assets around the world. I mean, it's happening right in front of our eyes. It has absolutely nothing to do with the actual commodities themselves. And it has everything to do with this, what we value things in, or what we actually use as quote unquote money, which is so tragic. I think there's people in this social space, I don't know what the hell you call it, that call this like a commodity super cycle. But it's not really anything to do with the commodities. It has everything to do with the value of currency and this whole fiat currency con job that unfortunately we live in. They're right that yes, you're going to see prices go absolutely insane, but it's more because the value of the currency that we trade in is collapsed in value. And the worst part about it is it's a realization that the value of these commodities or the value of the currency has collapsed, and these commodities need to be repriced given the new reality of our money supply situation. Milton Friedman, for instance, he went on endlessly about how basically inflation is a completely made up concept. And inflation really is nothing more than governments giving the okay to have the money supply completely exploded. And I would make the argument that this really goes back to the bankster class and the bankster crooks of our society, because any democratically elected politician that tries to put the kibosh on their plan and the way that they control the money supply, governments really don't control the money supply. They're puppets of the banksters. Um, they literally get assassinated. Or the banksters, they, you know, Ronald Reagan went on Johnny Carson in 1980 before the election. And he said, it's high time we get our fucking act together and quit living beyond our means. And this guy, Jimmy Carter, is completely destroying our society because he's printing and spending money he doesn't have. And we have to get back to the days of balancing the books. He was elected. The American population loved him for it. All right, we're finally going to get our act together. We're going to start cleaning things up. And the goddamn banksters mysteriously took a pop at him. And literally the day after the assassination attempt, all of a sudden, Mr. Reagan completely changed his tune. And now it's perfectly fine to deficit spend out the ass. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Every single political leader that has tried to hold these bastards to account and stop this, going all the way back to Jefferson himself. You U.S. citizens, you should know your history. Jefferson, probably the most revered politician of the 19th century, and really, forefathers, founders of the U.S., the Constitution. I mean, keep in mind, I live in China. We don't even have half the rights that you Americans have. This jerk in my country, he could literally throw me in jail and steal all of my assets just like that. So we have to live vicariously through you Americans. And what's sad is you can see that the banksters class, the Rothschilds, they of course got completely fucked by the forefathers who actually created this wonderful thing called the US and this wonderful thing called the Constitution, which actually gave people actual rights. They are literally having their final revenge, and they are literally trying to destroy this United States of America, and they're doing a damn good job at it. And they're doing it through debt. I mean, we could pull up the debt calculation clock. It's just disgusting what they've done. So, all right, I got off on this tangent because trying to explain why I did the interview with the Wall Street silver people, and I talked as bullishly as I did about silver, and I think that process is underway. Having said that, this is an image of just basically silver prices over the past 12 months. Right? We'll zoom out. There is your 1 year chart of silver. Could they take 6-8 months and bring this silver price right back down to reload zones and start painting things like bullish divergences in your momentum indicators and W's in price? And I don't know, have you ever seen that happen before in these markets? Good old ZACK, Saved by the Bell. I mean, it's basically the exact same image. It's identical. But the problem is you can't buy up here. You just can't buy up here. You have to wait for reload zones. You have to wait for momentum bottoms. You have to wait for price structure. You have to wait for volume impetus. And so sadly, I actually think a lot of people who have gotten, sort of bought into this, okay, we're finally going to free ourselves from the shackles of the bankster crooks. We're going to move to the silver standard. And to hell with this damn fiat currency system. Well, do you think the banks are going to so willingly and comfortably and easily relinquish control like that? No fucking way. And I wouldn't even be surprised that they're going to juice the system as much as possible so that into this November election, they try and get their guy put back in the White House. course, their guy is I mean, he's basically a walking skeleton. What's so sad is, and I'm surprised nobody in the public looks at this, but if you actually take a picture of Joe Biden from like say 10, 15 years ago, and you compare it to the Joe Biden that you see today, I mean, this guy, he looks like he's had like plastic surgery. I don't know. He just doesn't even look like the same person. And it's scary how sort of like he looks like somebody who should be in a senior citizens home. So, all right, got off on a terrible tangent there. Sorry. So anyway, the point that I would just make here is that it does look to me like silver's a little bit dangerous here. And maybe if you don't listen to the Beamish, maybe listen to good old Zach. And you want to be buying, of course, when these things are Wing out in reload zones, nice momentum signals on good volume. This is what you want to be buying. You don't want to be buying when these things look like M's like this. And it might be interesting just to look at RSI on silver and just see whether there's any signs of divergence there. Uh-oh. This is RSI. And you can see that's a lower high. Can you see how cliche this is, everybody? I mean, if nothing else, what you got today was such a good example of markets that you should try and avoid. Right? This has got trouble written all over it. And the irony of it all is that, I remember, a few years ago, and unfortunately, I mean, I don't like to harp on it, but it was such a major gaffe. Here's an example of RSI scenario, same sort of thing in the Bitcoin space. And sadly, of course, the people in the public that not really very good technicians, they're all like, oh, just go and buy and you'll do great. But if you fancy yourself a half decent technician, you have to respect the message when you see RSI do something like this, which kind of scares me right now because they could easily pop Bitcoin up to new highs. And you can see that RSI is in that same sort of scenario. We might not get RSI go to new highs. You can see Willie's already rolled over here. I would prefer that they don't go and just pull an FU here and then dump it. And if they do, then that's a major problem. So like this example, this is a good example of why I don't really think that this is a really good buying window. What we need to see is we need to see Bitcoin flush out like this, right? And the indicators calm down and come back down, start putting in W's. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of a W in RSI there. Seems awfully early. So anyway, I still think, it's just my opinion, but I still think that we're just stuck in a range here on something like Bitcoin. And what I want to see is how in fact, we should probably even put it on here. How does the market act around? Oh, interesting. So it's also July 1st around that ECB event, right? Because the Europeans are going to crap on that tether as of July 1st. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some fireworks around that. So all right, a whole bunch of rhetoric. Like I said, I was having fun in altcoin land. And there's some fun stories. If anything, this Solana network, it's a lot of fun. It sort of brings the fun back to the market. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe when I come back from Lily, you'll hear me talking about banging out more doubles. And I notice this thing just keeps moving higher. So my next sell order up here will be at 24. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get a sell off on this thing as well. So. Okay, let's circle around and let's take a look at the questions. Keep in mind that the purpose of this Broiler Chicken Show is really to help the current students as much as I can. And sort of dovetail with Grim, our level 1 instructor. He's been doing the level 1 program now for the better part of a year. Which screen should I have on here? I guess this one. Good old Zach. Let's see what we got here. Whoops. Too many tabs. Gonna blow the system up. Still think we're in spring and summer here. So I really wouldn't get too bearish of Bitcoin and crypto here. I actually think really the best thing that Bitcoin could possibly do right now is just go sideways for a couple months. That would probably be the best thing. Yeah, there is like trading range setups. I don't mind, shorting against the top end of the range, buying against the bottom end of the range. And I do that on a fairly regular basis at TRI with the community, just try and show you what sort of lower time frame participants are doing. So that would be this kind of image here. So in fact, I would even argue that there was a pretty well established short setup here on the daily charts. Lots of reasons. In fact, I put a tweet out. There's about 6 or 7 reasons to consider a short up here. So that I think is just working away. It's doing its thing. And, revisits of things like 50% of the range, revisit of midpoint of the trend channel. Look where the 200 SMA is on this chart. It's all the way down here. Holy crap. And really all this is just trading back and forth in this channel. Top of the range, bottom end of the range, top end of the range, bottom end of the range. And, what you ideally want to do is try and, of course, let them have some up top here. And then, on 2-to-1s, you can see that's a 2-to-1 risk reward. You let half of the position go. And then if, somebody just says something horrific, or, maybe quantum computing comes out and they've actually been able to hack the Bitcoin chain and this thing is worthless and it goes to zero, then, that huge short right there, of course, pays off big time. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. All I'm saying is that's sort of the ideal scenario. From a trader's perspective, what you really want to try and do, maybe write this down if you've never heard this before, you want to really try and establish a free look. So I love taking these short shots against the top end of the range, let half the position go at 2-to-1, actually make a little bit of money on the trade, move your stop to scratch. And now you've got a free look. And if this thing absolutely pukes out, like we had a short working off of here, took 2-to-1s, had stops at scratch. The position was up huge, but the position did get stopped at scratch when they brought the market back. But you notice as soon as that happened, we just keep hunting and boom, we're right back in the same trade. And in fact, off of the futures market, this really bums me out because I actually had the trade working here right off this gap level, but they wouldn't give me a fill, fuckers. I was off by $5 on that level. Couldn't believe it. So if I'm lucky and they revisit this top end of the range, technically this gap has not been filled in, then I'll get that short back on. But in an interesting way, like lower time frame players, I actually think that these two gaps here basically define our trading range. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin just bangs back and forth between these two for a little while here. Probably the market that I'm most interested in and really watching for a potential trade is this Ethereum. Because look at that. I mean, everybody should look at that chart and go, oh, Jesus. I can see exactly what that damn Beamish guy is talking about. And again, we teach this in the course. So if you want to learn how to do this, just, where is our reload zone? There it is. Oh, and hello. Look at that beautiful little top. So if that M comes in here, I'm going to be talking about shorting that M right there. So be forewarned. It's in reload short zones. Everybody and their brother is uber bullish about this, which I don't even really understand why. Willie, almost 2-bit, 20.9 is pretty damn close. RSI is actually looking like it's emming out here. We never really did get a divergence. If anything, maybe if we get one more pop up here, but none of these momentum indicators go to new highs and we don't get any big volume surge, that probably is your tell that this thing's top. So having said that, if this M does come in here, well, M's are M's are M's. You know what Brian's going to be thinking. So just be cognizant of the fact that this guy is looking a little dangerous. And I think this is why total looks the way that it does. Because you notice that total looks almost identical to that. And, we've talked to you guys lots about this. This is actually a really dangerous place, trade location wise, for us to be too bullish here. That's a red box. We're supposed to be unloading in red boxes, not loading. So I would actually make the argument, 8s and 9s on Tom DeMark. If we actually change this to a line chart, we actually have M's working here. So there's plenty of reason to be very cautionary here. Having said that, if we just are bumping around in this range here, the little meme coins, they're gonna have an absolute party on this. So ZACK will become a millionaire while these things are sitting there doing nothing. And sometimes we go through this kind of market state. I mean, you can see the channel. We could easily just bounce in this channel. You can see where 200 SMA is. There's the midpoint of the channel. Usually the market oscillates. Look how it oscillates. Oscillate, 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 oscillate. Would it be unrealistic to expect another oscillation here around the midpoint? I don't see why not. So, you put it all together. I'm not overly impressed with what I see here. And if anything, I would like to see a nice dump into that end of June, beginning of July window all around. Remember FOMC and all that crap. Suppose we could probably talk about that, but we're running out of time here. Okay, so there's your market. You want to have some fun? Go and party in the altcoin space, and more importantly, what this is all about these silly meme coins, right? Just go have some fun. Buy W's at the bottom ends of ranges. You never know, you might just get handed a bucket load of money. I mean, what the hell? Bucket loads are bucket loads. Just don't chase. And when you see those big fat J-Lo booty bottoms and people talking about how sexy they are and how hot things are, that's your warning that, hey, this thing's already been fully baked. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't goddamn chase. All right, enough of that. Let's head on over to the Q&A document. Now, where the hell do I have that? Let's see. I think Chris said there's a couple questions, so it shouldn't be too onerous, but nonetheless, let's see if we can give you guys some value here today. Did I mention Josh and his killer blogs? Oh my goodness. Hey, there's my buddy Milton. I mean, Josh does absolutely incredible job with this blog. So good. And it's free. I mean, what the hell? How can I advertise for people to read this? This shit will change your life if you actually are ready to open your eyes and see the reality, and it's free. I mean, how do I advertise? There should be 1 million views of this blog. I don't get it. And it's actually really pretty too. Yeah, I don't know if that's a sales pitch for the blog or not, but I mean, it's just so perfect. This could be $1 million fucking product right here. This is better research than you're ever going to get in fucking Wall Street. Most of the time, keep in mind, Wall Street, they give you research so that you're encouraged to buy something that they're underwriting. Is that slight conflict of interest? I don't know. You tell me. Great part about this research is we're not selling you anything. Hey, no, it's just Brian just trying to help you make money from trading. Buy low, sell high, right? And all that kind of stuff. Anyway. Okay, so what I wanted to see is where is our AMA document? I don't see it here. What do I want to do here? I want to go to Chris's chat. Let's have that on the screen. Where is Chris? There he is. All right. I got the newsletter. I think we showed everybody. And feel free, right? You can get this newsletter in your email. All you got to do is just pop in here, fire your email on here somewhere, sign up right there. And you can get this in your email box on a weekly basis. I tell you, man, one of these days I should just go through newsletter after newsletter after newsletter just to show you how many fucking doubles and triples and quadruples and crap we bang out. I mean, it's insane how many winning trades we produce. So cool. So, but what we want is we want that AMA document. Where is the AMA document? There it is. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Chris said there was a couple questions. So Hope you level oneers are feeling like you're getting good value for your money spent and you are learning. And of course, any further students, level 2, level 3, you're more than welcome to post questions in here. Really, anybody on the site. All right, here we go. 6-2. Geez, it's already June. Fuck. All right. Hi, Brian. I'm looking to get set up with the Bird Eye Exchange, but don't want to make a mistake and get scammed with clicking the wrong links and downloads. Is there a guide on TRI to get set up, or perhaps if you have spare time to run through it on a daily brief after party sometime? Much appreciated. Yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, Steven came on when he first wanted to get me set up on Solana. Because keep in mind, I the boys here funded me with $500 on Solana because this was the thing that I did I guess what, like 10-15 years ago. Jeez, I can't believe it's that long ago now. But this right here on Trex, right? We started with $500. It was one student's tuition. And at the time, Bitcoin was like 450 bucks or something like that. So we took one student, and the level 1 course was $500 at that point. And we said, all right, let's see if we can ramp this up to 100 G's. Turns out it went up to like 5, 6, 700,000. I think somebody even said at one point it got pretty close to $1 million. But that was through that respective fear cycle apex, and that was the peak of the cycle. So it doesn't really surprise me that this did perform the way that it did, and actually the cycle worked exactly the way that it was supposed to. Are we going to see as dramatic of a performance through this particular cycle? I don't think so. Which, unfortunately, you guys are all going, oh, fuck me, you promised me Lambos. But if we look at the Benner cycle, what we have to understand is the context of what cycle we're in. And isn't that awesome? The first link that you see for Benner cycle here on Google is TRI. Oh, that is so freaking cool. So the point of the matter here is this is Mr. Benner's cycle that he did like, geez, a couple hundred years ago. Josh updated it, so it actually shows us what's going to happen here in the near future. It's the same, nothing changes here. But as you can see, we are in this window right here. The cycle where we made those ridiculous amounts of money was the cycle of 2016, 17, 18. Of course, I teach in TRI that we go through 17.5-year fear and greed cycles. So this cycle, according to my work, was supposed to top third quarter of 2017, fourth quarter 2017, first quarter 2018. And of course, that was when they ran Bitcoin straight up to like 20 G's there. Mr. Benner, of course, here would say that this cycle actually should have pivoted 2019. That was the big cycle event. And of course, we all saw what happened through all that sickness, bullshit, scam-demic, right? All that nonsense that they pulled. And really, more importantly, from an economics perspective, the way they completely destroyed our society with the whole money printing and great reset, right? They all knew exactly what they were going to do years and years ago. And it was just a con job, and they used the sickness as cover for the excuse to pull off the con job. And then they knew that there was going to be 6 different celestial events that were all going to happen in this window, and it was the absolute perfect sort of cover for this. And I might make the argument that your 6 different celestial events are, think of like, what is it? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You could say, man, it's the 6 horsemen of the apocalypse, whatever. But you can think of like sickness as one of those celestial event windows. We all went through that shit. Fucking. Did you know in my country, they actually have proof that Pfizer created these vaccines, and they knew that there were cancer-causing agents in the vaccines that they were giving everybody. And as a result, they required the public to sign a document saying that you legally do not have the right to sue Pfizer no matter what. even though they knew, and there is evidence that they knew ahead of time that the vaccines that they created actually had cancer causing agents in the vaccines. Now that is criminal. And on top of it, right, to add insult to injury, if you do get cancer, if you do die, if you do get sick, if you do have horrible maladies, you have no legal right to do anything. That, if there isn't an anecdote of how fucked up this world is, that, my friends, is it. And after I'm long dead and gone, I sure hope to God these kind of videos survive so that somebody down the road can remind the public how corrupt these corporations are and how these politicians are nothing more than puppets of these corporations. So sad. Anyway, point of the matter here is that we are in one of these minor cycles. This isn't going to be one of these absolute insane cycle pivots. But having said that, we are in a bull cycle, in this kind of bull cycle window. And I remember when I first got into crypto, I got into crypto 2013, 2014, and through this 2016 event, we had things like Archcoin. I don't know whether you remember Arch, but that was a great analogy of that particular crypto market. And of course, we're all supposed to be living in Mobies right now. And probably none of you have any idea what the fuck I'm talking about. So this is why it's handy to have good 10, 15 years experience in this space so that you know all the bullshit stories that these scams are, scam artists, like what's our buddy's name over there from FTX that we all have to remember his name, Dan Freeberg or whatever, who is the criminal mastermind behind the poker scam software crap. And of course, he was sort of the lead agent of FTX there. I think he basically, was the driver behind SBF, but that's another conversation for another day. Point here is, it's good that you have a guy like Beamish around here that knows the stories, that knows the bullshit, that can say, please, for God's sakes, don't chase. Don't listen to these idiots because they're just and when somebody says this time it's different, that's not true. It's actually the same as always. So, anyway, point here is that we are in this window, and in this kind of window, can you make money from trading? I don't know. Can you make money if this kind of crap happens? And, I did this through the crypto space, right? Through good old Solana. Where's our fun little GME? I mean, I don't know. Can you afford to go and get like 20x? Can you go and buy Lambos? Keep in mind, if you threw $1,000 into there, 20x, 30x, whatever, we're starting to talk some serious money. So, can you make money at this? Sure. There's lots and lots of money to be made, but I don't want people thinking that it's just a no-brainer. Everything's going to go 100x, and you just buy and hold, and you're going to actually produce these kind of insane results. I think this might be a little bit aggressive for this particular cycle, but let's see how we do. Like I said, I started this portfolio in January. And the community gave me $500 to work with. And interestingly enough, this doesn't actually show like even like this DEVIN. I don't even think this DEVIN's even here. And I'm still trying to figure out this step. Like it shows some assets, but it doesn't show them all. I'm actually having a really hard time just trying to find a place where I can actually see exactly what's going on in this Solana account. It's really confusing, but you can see we're working this account up. So in 6 months time, if you can get the better part of 300% return, I mean, if you start compounding, and we're not even in the bull run here, right? I mean, Solana is not even really doing anything right now. So if you can do this kind of performance here, I mean, God, just imagine what the hell this thing's going to be in like October, November of 2025 2025. Is that, yeah, November 2025. That's our cycle peak. And, just FYI, the ZACK guy, he actually publicly came out and he said, I expect this coin to be $5. That's 100x from where we are, folks. So I don't know. If you go and buy $500 worth of this thing, $500, you got $500. Anyway, if anybody playing crypto's got $500. You go buy $500 worth of this thing, and then it goes, maybe sell half on a double, right? So you're left with $250 of your original money. You got your original $500 back, and then the damn thing actually goes to $5 a coin into that cycle peak. That's exactly what I did on Doge, right? And I took, God, I think, how much money? I think I took like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 G's out of that Doge up top there when it ran up to 70 cents there. There's no reason why you can't do that. In fact, actually, and this is just one name. I mean, that's just sell half on a double, get yourself a risk-free trade, then just forget about the rest. I mean, you want to go and reload, add extra cars, well, that's up to you and your plan. So over the next year and a half, is there going to be some money to be made? You bet. I mean, hell, I might even get another double off here before the day is done on this thing. It's at 16 now. I mean, my next double is 24. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen here. Do I just kill all my sell orders and just say, you know what? I'm going to come back in November 2025. Obviously, I've already gotten a ton of money out of this thing. And I'll just see where the hell this damn thing is into that November peak. This thing could easily be over $1. Who knows? Only time will tell. And like in the intro message that I give you guys, I go, just let yourself get rich. So I think this is a good scenario of this. If I go and buy some of this, W's, all that kind of talk, right? And Zach right here, he's just sitting. You can see the W just fired. And then I do sell half on a double. By me just taking the coins, maybe put them on like a ledger or something like that. I don't know. Just take them totally off of the net. And just say, you know what? We know that the cycle peak is in November 25. I'm just going to let myself get rich. I'm not going to stand in my own way. You'd be surprised how many people do that. The key here, though, I think, everybody, and please try and remember this, try and note this, especially you new students, get that risk-free trade as fast as possible. What you do with the free coins, that's up to you. Doesn't matter, right? Maybe even sell it like a 2.618. So that way there's enough money to pay the tax bill. Because the tax man, they're going to want their chunk. In fact, actually, they just even threatening, well, they probably are, stupid asshole in my country. They're going to raise the capital gains taxes. So they want even a bigger chunk out of us fuckers. I know Biden, if he's reelected, that's a big campaign thing for him. He wants to get more of your capital gains. And we actually might go through a period here where actually society says, yeah, you know what? Fuck the capitalists. Let's hit them as hard as possible. There's no reason why we couldn't go through a decade of that. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Having said that, are you going to see these kind of scenarios? Absolutely. Are you going to see 100Xs? I mean, Jesus, this thing, I mean, that's 1,000, folks. We're already at 17,000. That's 17X. It's not that far away to actually see, 10X of this. I showed you how they did it on Dogecoin that last cycle. This thing might actually just top out here, go sideways for 6 months, and then into the cycle peak next go round. They run it up to $1, $1.70. Boom, there's your 100X. So there's tons of money to be made here, folks. There really is. But just learn how to play the game and just let yourself get rich. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. The specific question was, Brian, would you do a tutorial to walk me through how to get set up on Bird Eye, for example? I'm not the guy to ask about this. As I said, back in January, we had Steven come on and he sort of did me a favor and said, hey, Brian, we'll fund you with $500. Get to work and do your magic that you like to do, banging out doubles, whatever. And Glass Insights there found it. It turns out it was December 22nd. Damn, thank you, Glass Insights. Are you Steven? Maybe that's who you are. Mr. Glass Insights won't tell me who he is. I have to sort of always talk to him through these funny little internet names. I hate how people do this stuff. Anyway, so he just gave us the link, and I think what I'll do, I'm just going to take his word for it, but maybe when I come back from Liam, I'll just make sure exactly where the notation is. But in this document, what I'll do is I will say, we'll call you GI, right? Found this link to a DB after party where, that might help. So let's do that. And we'll just make it a link. And if it is the correct link and it does help you, then give a shout out to Mr. GI. Well, I'll also say, let's ask Stephen. Who else is really, really good is Dan. Although he is pretty busy with his own community, but he did join our class and our school. And I think it's helped him a bit, kind of crisp up his trading and his trading plan. But he's basically a DeFi Solana expert, I would say. So let's ask, Stephen, Dan, or even anyone else who fancies themselves a bird by expert to come on and do a walkthrough in the near future. How's that sound? So anybody who is watching this video later on wants to, they don't like fancy? Who fancies? Fancy? Yeah, jerks. Anyway, maybe it's not the, isn't that weird? Fancy themselves? No. Anyway, let's make a plan to do a tutorial. Remember, I'm the guy who just had $3,000 stolen from him from this stupid fucking MetaMask shit. So I'm not the person to look to be an expert about DeFi and ledgers and all this stuff. And frankly speaking, I'm extremely gun shy. I've asked Jord to actually walk me through. I did see that the fees for doing Ethereum transactions are relatively low now. So I've actually asked Sjord to literally, I said, look, I'll pay you for an hour and I want to go through and I literally want to spend up the rest of the capital. I've got $3,000 and I literally want to go in and buy another $250 of this guy, another $250 of this guy, $250 of this guy, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, we need to crisp that up because that quote's wrong. Et cetera, but just get all of these numbers so they're all nice and crisp, and we're ready for the next cycle. I had it 3,000 in here, but some stupid cocksucker stole my money. So I'm asking Sjord to actually help me do that. And then I think what I'm going to do for this portfolio, because I've got all the names I want, I'm heavily diversified right across the board. I think I might just leave this as it is. And not tinker with this because obviously tinkering fucked me over, and then just look to liquidate the whole damn thing into that November of 25, November, December, into that window. And I have a feeling this portfolio should be pretty darn good. The good part about it right now, I mean, you can see we're sitting on about 140% return, even with that money stolen from me. So obviously I'm doing something right here. It's just really a question of I'm not an expert at this DeFi and using these exchanges and stuff. So I'm not really the person that should be answering this question. this is where TRI's community really blossoms and really helps. And I love that about this place. In fact, what I've been asking from the team repeatedly over the past few years is TRI needs to now become the community. If anything, maybe we should change the address to the Rational Investors, not investor. I actually made the joke on Twitter that maybe what we should do is change the name of this place to the Rational Speculators. Because no offense, Zach, love you dearly, but this is not investing. This is fucking going to Vegas and just gambling. And the sad part about it, all those booty and all that kind of crap that I showed you, these kids are speculating, they're gambling. There's nothing investing about this whatsoever. But that doesn't mean you can't make money at this. In fact, actually, I think it's very lucrative. But I might actually call us speculators now, not investors. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. So my answer to you is number one, we do have actually an old video that might help you a little bit. So thank you very much, GI, for finding that. And then number two, I like the idea that, in fact, Chris, maybe let's make it an effort that let's try and reach out. And I'll even post in the little old lady room. This coming Friday, let's make it we want to get set up on, and I don't even know if Bird Eye is even really the best place to use. I do like it, but I've noticed there's a couple things that I really don't like about this site. For instance, their watch lists. It seems that, and it might be that I have to actually pay for an account. Maybe that's what's going on, but it's limited to only like 30 names. And of course, me, I want to own everything. There's no way I'm going to stop at 30 names. So as a result, like this over here, which one is it? Here, this watch list, it doesn't have all my names in it. And it's almost impossible to add more names. Like, I don't even think I have this Devin in here. So I actually had to go over to Deck Screener and create a watch list over here. So I can watch all my names that I love to. And just like I showed you off of that Twitter thing. She's 16 now, eh? Jeez, keep taking it higher. I want to own everything. And I will take a very small amount of money and I will just basically buy a chunk of everything in this space that I can. And it'll be an interesting to place bets in November 2025. How many names is Brian up to? And, in the same scenario on Trex, by the end of this process here, by the end of this, I was up to about 250 names on Trex. About maybe 300 names. So, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. And of course, if the whole market lifts the way that I expect it to, into our cycle peak, not only is Bitcoin going to be very expensive, but we're also probably going to find that all of these altcoins, and you're going to have Alan on Saturday Night Live, him touting his coin, whatever he's into, Doge or whatever it is. And, I'll do you a favor here. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's no guarantees from the management and there's not financial advice, but I will say, I feel 100% confident. This is just me talking. I'm not giving you advice. Frankly speaking, I couldn't care what you do with your money, but this one right here, I think this is a no-brainer 100x. We are invested in it. I want to get invested myself. And I see no reason whatsoever that this thing isn't $2 into the November, December cycle peak. It's not a quote unquote buy yet, but it is interesting how they are breaking down trend lines. You definitely see that we're in trade location, and this thing's cheap as hell. Just even a 50% bounce. That's 5x from where we are. I guess not at 3 now, but when it was 2, it was 5x. I mean, Jesus, that's some serious money. So I actually even posted it for the community. I said, okay, I want to buy a house for Lily, about $500,000. We'll buy him a half decent house here in China. How much of this thing do I need to buy at around 2 cents? And I will sell half of it when we tag this 50% level to get my original capital back. How much do I need to buy now that when this thing hits $2 and think, does anybody on YouTube remember Sedona Euphoria? It's the exact same thing, identical. But in essence, that was the same logic. As I said, Doge broke out about 0.007 and it went to 70 cents or basically 100x. So if this thing bottoms around 2-3 cents, what's 100x? It's $2. Same logic, and it'll be Snoop Dogg instead of Alan on Saturday Night Live talking about all the crypto millionaires he's made. That could easily be the case. So anyway, this thing's sitting right in your front of your face. And I think that actually it's a no-brainer that this thing will trade back to the 50% level, which is 5x alone. That's crazy. This has got Sedona Euphoria. In fact, I'll even write on here. This is this cycle's Sedona Euphoria name. There you go. Merry Christmas. All right. So, did yourself a favor. Maybe take some time and do some due diligence. Why does Stewart have this as his fundamental attractive names? And now, and this is the interesting thing about this, is that if you're a rational analyst, then that means you want to concentrate on good fundamental names. But at the same time, too, rational analysis means that it's also a technically attractive idea. And I would argue that the technicians, with it falling so much at 88.6 of its range here, I can't show you that, but maybe another day, or maybe on the daily brief, something on the site, I'll go through this. Can we go through our 3-step process? Location, indicator confirmation, price structure, go to frame the actual purchase itself. And then that way, you have a good fundamental idea and a good technical idea, or i.e. a good rational investment. So there's your freebie for the show here today. That hasn't gone yet. I certainly don't want you going and buying something like this Mother or that other one that I showed you, the DEVIN. I mean, God, for God's sakes, don't go and chase these things up top here. You're just asking for trouble. But having said that, I might even sell some more. I was kind of hoping that actually we get another sell off here. But sell off, sell booked. Oh, look at that. Now they're bringing it back down. Oh, 20. They actually hit 20 even. Son of a bitch. Maybe that's what they were going for. My next sell order is at 24. So who knows? By the time I get back from Lily, maybe we get another push like this and I get another fill off. Who knows? Okay. Let's head over to the Q&A document. How much time do I have? I still got 15 minutes, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, ironically enough, DMAC, it's just that simple. And yet it's impossible. It's just that simple, and yet it's impossibly difficult to get me to even consider like that what was that little damn thing that I was just telling you about? What was it? It was hello. I mean, if I go out into the public and I tout that, nobody's going to be interested in that. Nobody. And that's the irony of this game. It's so ironic. Anyway, okay, let's get back to that Q&A document, wherever the hell it went. Let's see what we got here. Okay, number 2. Hi, Brian. When you draw your chaos theory fibs, are you drawing off the left or right side of the W? Thanks, Michael. All right. Very good question. Unfortunately, there really is no, how do we say this? There's no user's manual. There's no, this is how you do chaos theory. In fact, the only person I've ever seen who actually mentioned chaos theory and how to trade with chaos theory, as soon as the interviewer, he mentioned, the guy said, well, how did you make so much money in the market? And he said, oh, I trade chaos theory. And then the guy said, oh, cool. Can you explain chaos theory to us? And he said, this interview is over. So good luck on finding anybody who will teach you how to trade chaos theory. Again, I mean, you guys watching YouTube, in fact, I should probably read some of your comments. You guys have been actually typing a lot of comments here. Earlier on, I asked you guys, does anybody else on the internet teach you half of the shit that I teach you guys? And the answer, unequivocal, no. Right? Diverted Light said, yes, I have learned more from you over the past few years than any social media star. Absolutely, DMAX says, people don't want to hear the truth and can't handle it. That's why they like more Gucci Dream fog sellers. Yeah, it's so true, DMAC. I hate that about this stupid society. Yeah. So what am I supposed to do, DMAC? I mean, am I just wasting my time here? I think I am to a certain degree. It does make me feel better. So that when I sit and I talk to Jojo and I talk to Spirit, I say, look, I'm trying to do what you asked me to do. And I do know there are a number of people that have said, Brian, my God, you made a huge difference. Holy crap. So that's good. Old man Brian says, Brian, I'm going to be frank. Uh-oh. You question a lot why you don't get a lot of views, but 90% of your videos, you kind of go on a tangent on charts, bankster rants for 30 minutes without ever talking to the audience. Yeah, that's a good point. People don't want a one-way conversation to get talked to. They want to be interacted with. Oh, yeah, good point. Fruity Forest says, most honest and valuable TA teaching online. Thank you so much for sharing. Kind of somehow deal with the rants though, eh? You do you, Brian. Love your rants. There you go. The exact opposite. And fuck the numbers. All right. Pity for many who don't want to hear it. They just want after the hype. Yeah. The rant is the backbone of understanding the failure of mainstream finance. Yeah, good point, Fruity. When you adjust for inflation, BTC never hit all-time highs this year. No, that's a good point. Actually, we haven't looked at that chart in a while. What time is it? Oh, I got about 12 minutes. I wouldn't mind taking a look at that, just see what it looks like. Where do we do that? Let's do it over here. Talk about adjusted for inflation. Hey, look at that. Just so you guys in the public see, why do I worship the ground this guy Sjord walks on? And why, if Sjord ever is interested in anything, I want to buy the fuck out of it. Sjord wanted to buy NVIDIA right there. And I remember the day we were watching a Wall Street options expiry, and somebody did a massive bull call spread on NVIDIA right here. And it was like the biggest tell that Wall Street was going ape shit long NVIDIA right here. And you tell me, was that a good idea? And this is where Sjord said, I think this is a good story. I really want to be invested in it. Holy shit, Muslim. So anything Sjord says that he likes, wow. Just go and buy it. Just do yourself a favor. Just go and buy some good fundamental analyst, probably the best fundamental analyst within the crypto space that I've met. Remember, he had Luna at like 50 cents. Damn thing went to over $100. Then, of course, it went tits up when the guy got a little too arrogant for his own boots. Okay, what do we want to see? We want to see BTC, right? So BTC, and then what versus M2? Is that how we're gonna do this? I don't know whether that works or not. BTC, maybe I have to go USD. Wonder if that'll work. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it did. Got to be careful there. Whoever said that. Yes, it did go to new highs here. So no, that statement's incorrect. Pikachu. I don't think so. Looks like that did go to new highs. All right, there is an RSI div on daily on ETH. Yeah, I do think that this ETH looks really dangerous. I mean, of course, Mr. Vitalik is constantly saying that he doesn't like the price. I don't know whether he's saying it now or not, but he doesn't like the price of ETH to be this high because it makes his supercomputer too expensive. And we did notice that those ETH fees have been coming down quite a bit recently. There was an image here that I had, or maybe it was a different tab. But let's see what you got here. RSI. Well, let's maybe go weekly. All right. Whoops. So I don't see it on the weeklies yet. So I don't think it's disastrous. Everything looks relatively uppy here. I haven't gone to new highs here. So I don't think it's an end of cycle, but I do like the idea that maybe we need to come back down. I think that we're going to just park in a trading range here. Looks like RSI made a new high there on that move there. And keep in mind, this high is higher than this high, so we can't really talk divergence on that yet. If we push to new highs here through this high, but RSI did not go to new highs, then I could say you have a div. What's a little bit scary about this one is you can see as we're pushing higher here in price, and remember that was through that holiday weekend where they fucked me. Remember I had that cute little short right there, and then I had my stop just above this the wick peak here, and they ran the stops. They did it on absolutely no volume at all. So that in itself is a huge divergence right there. All the pros in the market, I bet they're paying attention to that. That is problematic right there. So having said that, could they pop it up one more time and really create that div here? I could see that. Wouldn't surprise me. Having said that, like I said just a moment ago, if this M does come in here, oh boy, I think that's going to be a wicked sell signal. Anyway, we'll keep an eye out for that. 32 through 35. Yeah, that should be our next sort of think nifty 50. Adam, if you want to do some research, think how was the market in the late 1950s, early 1960s. I think it'll be similar to that into the early to mid 30s. Sedona Euphoria, you didn't change your name as Doge didn't hit a few dollars. That's right. So no name change. Hey, good to see that you're still around from those days, DMAC. A lot of viewers aren't. All right, so let's head on over to that Q&A document, see if there are any other questions left. And then I'll head off to Lily. So yeah, I'm not going to explain how chaos theory works on this public show. I will say that, Chris, if you could remind me in the after party tomorrow, site members, I'll go through and answer this question. I don't really want to talk chaos theory here on the public show. And especially step by step. This is what I do. 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 Having said that, I look at chaos theory from a very unique perspective, my lens. I do notice others, and there's one gentleman in particular that it doesn't matter what I teach. He will not teach the concepts that I teach. I have no idea why, but it's like if I teach something, if I come up with an idea, he will go out of his way to try and do it differently. And I have no idea why. So if you hear other people talking about chaos theory on the site, I'm just going to simply default to, I've been doing this for 35 years. there is a very logical reason why I do everything the way that I do, and I am very comfortable in the way that I interpret all of this. And I have no idea how other people come up with their thinking. And frankly speaking, I don't know whether they are authorities to justify the way that they do their studies because they just haven't been in this business long enough to be an authority. Having said that, I can't comment. Obviously, I'm not going to name names. What I will do for you, Michael, and Chris, maybe you can remind me, is I'll go through a very simple tutorial of how I draw the studies in the after party tomorrow. Monday is usually kind of like a free fall day anyway, free for all day anyway. So, Chris, do you think you could remind me to do that? All right, I'm going to assume that there it is. All right. Okay, number 3, based on your bearish view on silver, would you also be bearish on silver miners in the coming months? Well, you know, bearish is not the right word because, you know, the message that I put out to the public was just be careful, you newly minted bulls. That's not a sell everything and run for the hills. What I said here was pullbacks are buying opportunities. So really what I'm saying here is I like silver. I like the silver miners. And of course, anybody who's a regular site member knows one particular silver miner that I'm absolutely in love with, and I'm accumulating stock in this company. I'm not going to chase, and I work my stink bids against the bottom end of range. And I'm more than happy to talk to you about that in the daily brief after parties. Don't really want to go into that kind of stuff here on this public free show on Sundays. But I'm not, bearish is not the right word. If anything, what I'm saying is I want to see a pullback into support to open the window for me to become more bullish. You know, the first guy that I would learn to trade with, he would say, find me an M, draw your 50% rule, and your 50% level should be your price objective. So if that's the case, then 50% is right in here, right? There's 61.8. My hunch is this thing does dip right back against trend lines and into reload zones. But that trade might take 6, 8, 12 months, right? It probably is a function of us heading into the election, right? Mr. Biden wants to get reelected. What's the number one bugaboo in our in our entire world right now? Inflation. So is he maybe going to take the next 6 months heading into that election to do everything in his power to try and bring prices down? Of course, it's going to be entirely artificial. And if he gets reelected, boom, everything goes right back up. But would it make sense for him to manipulate the market into that election? Absolutely. So please don't interpret my cautionary tone here as being bearish. That's not the right term. Well, if anything, I want to buy, but I can't buy here. And it's exactly the same thing as ZACK. You know, I mean, he's an awfully handsome guy, and maybe if I'm really lucky, I'll get to have his baby. You know, all those kind of fun conversations. But there's no way in bloody hell. Oh darn! Did I get rid of the chart? Fudge. Where's Zach? Right, there he is. There's no way in bloody hell that I'm going to come in here and I'm going to buy Zach if I'm staring at M's in the face. There's just no way in hell I'm going to do that. Actually, that was the chart, wasn't it? I guess it was 4 hour. Right? There's no way I'm going to buy here. Same sort of logic. Pullbacks are buying opportunities. There's your pullback, and Brian went in and bought. And if I'm maybe that's it for the rally. Who knows? So I hope that helps explain that thinking there. I'm not really overly bearish of silver, and I'm not really overly bearish of commodities in general. I just think that they've gotten a little too expensive. And if anything, you know, people that came in and bought this and chased here, they're going to get destroyed. Just like Zach in that chart I showed you. And if and when we can pull back into these buying windows, my hunch is all the silver stocks and stuff that I'm interested in buying, they will also pull back into their gaps and the bottom ends of the ranges, and I'll get filled on my stink bids. All right, I hope that helps answer that question. And by all means, if anything, can you, whoever asked this question, can you answer here? Okay, yeah, Brian, that helps me thinking, or no, I still don't understand. And then we can circle back tomorrow. Chris said that he'll remind me to take a look at this again, so we can talk a little chaos theory, and maybe I'll show you that little silver stock that I'm interested in, and where my bid is, because right now I'm bidding quite a bit lower than where current price is. Cocksuckers, of course, bidding it up because the public is chomping at the bit for silver. All right, last question here, and it is 1 o'clock, so I'm going to have to answer this relatively quickly, and then I got to get out of here. So, hi, Brian. If you have a setup where have a bigger W with a smaller W inside the larger W, are you betting off of a risk management and probability of success standpoint frame to frame your trade off of the larger W or the smaller W? Thanks, Michael. I would actually say that the objective, generally speaking, I don't go off of the actual W's to paint objectives. Unless, if I'm going to do chaos theory, but what I would prefer to do is kind of like what I said with good old Kenny Roberts there a million years ago when I used to trade with him. So if we look at these kind of ideas, I might argue that the absolute sort of knee jerk, keep it simple, stupid, don't overthink this stuff, technical objectives should be 50%. So that would be that number right there. That is always your default technical objective. Then what I like to do is I like to throw on these chaos theory levels, and I like to see if there's any confluence of levels. Now, by default, I mean, really the question ultimately is are you, we have to figure out what type of risk taker you are. And then by definition, that's going to tell you how you're going to participate in the market. If you are trading these things, leverage trading, that kind of idea, then what you're probably going to want to do is find a W that you're going to work with, because this, of course, the W is going to frame the amount of risk that you're going to take. And then by definition, of course, 2 to 1 should be your default profit taking. So if I was trading this thing and I bought the W and I have to risk against the bottom of the W, then I have to force myself to ring the register. And my hunch is there's probably a lot of people that actually are doing exactly this trade on this asset right here. It's no accident that you see, oh, gee whiz, as soon as we got above this level, all of a sudden sellers started to come out and drive the price back down. Why? They were ringing the register, more than 2 to 1 risk reward off of that W. If you're a little old ladying this, well, it's at the bottom end of the range and I want to sell half on a double, well, then it's just purely a function of, well, my purchase price was 4 and change. So that means my sell price has to be 8 and change. So that has absolutely nothing to do with fibs or chaos theory levels. And it's just purely a function of whatever it is your purchase price was. Now, I could make the argument that both of these strategies are perfectly legit. And so you could say that, and really this is just entirely up to you and your plan. Obviously, the, oops, let's try and do that again. Obviously, the bigger W, which would be like down, up, down, breakout, so I have to risk against that low, means that I have to take a bit more risk to see my 2 to 1. But that's perfectly legit. I'm buying this W, going to risk against this entire bottom, and at 2 to 1, I have to force myself to ring the register. There's nothing wrong with that. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. It's pretty simple. So The answer to your question is really a function of what type of risk taker you are and how you are approaching the market. All of these strategies are correct. Like this 2-to-1 off of this little double bottom is perfectly correct. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Buying these W's and placing your sell half on a double order at double your purchase price, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Buying this bigger W, which is, of course is a little bit more aggressive because you can see the, I guess up here, a higher price objective, but it's going to give myself a little bit more wiggle room off of this W. But I have to wait for that level if I'm going to take this amount of risk. Perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's obviously a function of your plan. So you really have to decide, okay, well, what type of trader am I? In this particular case, it's really, really difficult to get like fine-tuned buy and sell levels off on these assets. Like really difficult. Quite often when I'm working orders at specific levels, the market will actually trade beyond my level. I can clearly see that it traded above my level. And as a result, no fill for you. It's just nothing you can do. So I'm not ever going to take I want to sharpshoot very specific levels for fills on trading SOL. And I only take this, keep it simple, stupid. I'm buying in reload zones. If I can have divergence and W's to support the trade, fucking A, awesome. And I'm just going to work orders to sell halves on doubles and triples. And I'm not going to try and time my purchases too closely because, frankly speaking, I can't be assured of fills, even if the market trades at my level. So I hope that answers the question. Please understand that, from a futures trading perspective, when I'm doing like Monday to Friday in this kind of arena, completely different conversation, entirely different conversation. But in this kind of arena here, if I can show my broker that price actually traded one tick above or below my order, depending, of course, on whether it was a buy or sell, but I can actually show the print on the chart and on the time and sales that the market did trade above my order and I can show the order working, then I am guaranteed a fill. That's the whole point of having regulated futures exchanges and the difference between futures and forwards. And of course, if you ask anybody in the crypto space, I would be willing to bet, and this should be a fun assignment. Let's all go and ask if anybody knows who that Gucci sweater wearer guy actually is, if he can explain articulately and clearly what is the difference between trading a Bitcoin futures contract and a Bitcoin forwards contract on all of these cryptocurrency exchanges, if he can actually explain what is the actual difference between these two products. And I'd be willing to bet $10 right now that he could not explain to you what the actual physical difference is between these two products. If you don't understand the difference between them, then my suggestion to you is do not go down the leverage trading route in anything like Solana, this kind of universe. Don't do it because you're just asking for trouble. All right. Hope that helps answer that question. Of course, I am running past time now. My apologies and excellent feedback from who was that? Old man Brian. Yeah, I do rant a lot. Ironically enough, in a weird sort of way, there's actually a lot of people who actually really enjoy the rants and say, well, that's actually one of the reasons why I like listening to you, Brian. So I understand it's a give and take, but at the same time, too, it does make sense why the audience is relatively limited. Having said that, if you can put up with me, and if you have your journals and you have your notes, there's this guy, Great Del Moody, who a few years ago did exactly that. And, if I understand correctly, he's actually a very, very profitable well-established trader at a competitor's social media gathering spot. I'm not quite sure what the hell else you call it, for trading and trading crypto. So in a weird sort of way, me doing all these public free broadcasts is actually enabling all of you to become competitors of mine, which probably really isn't that good, but oh well. All right, so let me know whether I answered your question here. It's a very good question. We can circle back and approach it again tomorrow on the Monday after party show. And of course, we will maybe take a good look at how I draw the chaos levels in particular, so you can know, why Brian does what he does the way that he does it. Okay, why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Thank you very much, Constantine, for the best wishes of Lily. All of you, if you could say a nice prayer for Liam, of course. Well, not of course, but he is having a little bit of a tough time of late. So your best wishes are greatly appreciated. And really, I got to get the hell out of here. All right, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. We'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. All the best, and bye for now.